racist homophobes, Aryan nations and hammer skins. You can wear my nuts on your Nazi chins. I love a man in uniform. And just what exactly are the great historical accomplishments of your race that make you proud to be white? Capitalism, slavery, genocide, sitcoms. This is your fucking white history, my friend. So why don't we start making the history worth being proud of and start fighting the real fucking enemy? Swastikas and clan robes, sexist, racist, homophobes. This one's for the master race. My brown power ass in your white power face. Kill them all and let a Norse god sort them out! At the turning point history, some fuckface recognize that knowledge tends to democratize culture, society. So the only thing to do when not classifying it to freeze. Yeah, I'm rolling down Rodeo with the shotgun. These people ain't seen the brown skin man since their grandparents bought one. So now I'm rolling down Rodeo with the shotgun. These people ain't seen the brown skin man since their grandparents bought one. So now I'm rolling down Rodeo with the shotgun. Banging this bolo tight, on his solo fight, can't fight alone. Fuck the track, but first fly like the family stone. That pet devil set the stage for the war at home. Lock without a wage, you standing in the drop zone. The clock is born, staring at an empty plate. Mama's torn hands cover a sucking face. We're hungry but them belly full. The structure is set, you never change it with a ballot pool. In the ruins as a network for the toxic rock. Schoolyard, a precinct. So from the project block, rises ropes out for new flesh and a factory floor. The remains left chained to the powder wall. Can't waste a day when the night brings a hearse. So make a move and plead the fifth, 'cause you can't plead the first. Can't waste a day when the night brings a hearse.
Let's see how this is gonna look. Let's look at the nonsense. Oh, what I tell ya? No chinking, wait, no chinking code on this. Fuck, bro. Hate this fucking shit, bro. Look at this. Look at this nonsense. Let's do this. Hold up, Ahí merito. Kinda, sorta, maybe. That's fine. Fuck it. Fuck it. A little more. Alright. It's Monday. I just got off work. More specifically, I just got off the fucking freeway. Man. Look, I said this. I didn't want to do a part 2 to the Grand Platner video. More shit was going to come out, and it's coming out. I don't think this is the nail in the coffin of the campaign. Y'all underestimate the power, the will of whiteness. You underestimate what I've been saying since day one. Whoa. That's all you hear about white people. Whoa. Woe is me. Whiteness over everything. It's not cream, but it's as close as I can get. And it's super frustrating because while I've been wanting to get that Grand Planner video out, which the first half of that, the original cut of that, is on Patreon. Fuck it, let's pull it up. Let's pull it up. Look, I don't think I'm special, unique, or anything like that. But what I do know for sure is these white people don't see things the way that I do. They don't communicate the way that I do. So it's fine if I show a little bit of this. That fake in.
Have you noticed that our caps have actually got little pictures of skulls?
Regardless of how political I am and how closely I follow all this stuff, I genuinely and sincerely had no fucking idea that this was a Nazi symbol. None.
People have said, well, you should definitely have known what this is because of several movies have displayed it. Personally, I don't pause videos to zoom in on symbols. That's just me.
There's a lot of people on the internet who are suddenly Nazi symbologists. Like, I'm sorry, like, I don't know. I've read a lot of books about World War II and Nazis. I'm a Jewish guy. Like, I didn't know that symbol. It looked like it was like when I saw it, I was like, that's a Nazi symbol. It looks like it's from Adult Swim.
He really did not know what the fuck this was. I didn't know what the fuck it was. I imagine Anna didn't know what the fuck it was either when she saw it. It looks like a bad tattoo.
I think it's entirely reasonable that he maybe didn't know the origin. I didn't know when I saw it. I mean, I think I'm fairly well educated. I didn't know that was that kind of symbol.
I will say this. I had never heard the word Totenkopf before this, and I probably saw it on uniforms like in movies, but just never noticed what it was.
So guess what, guys? Graham Platner's tattoo has made me more ride or die for him than ever.
Look at them, hiding behind white ignorance to gain white innocence. We shouldn't be surprised as the so-called independent left media worked tirelessly to normalize supporting the Democratic Party as they carried out a genocide against Palestinians. In comparison, supporting one war criminal is the lesser of those two evils. They can afford to do this because they're not at risk. They never have been. That's why they're acting like recognizing one of the most prominent white supremacist symbols requires some type of academic expertise, when in reality, all it requires is studying your enemy. But there's the truth. A mercenary who had a death skull tattoo for nearly 2 decades to honor his war crimes in Iraq, only to cover it up with a Celtic dog because the first whistle was a little too loud, isn't their enemy, but their hero. What did we expect from people who still hold a lifelong Zionist, Theo Bernie Sanders, as their political leader? Of course he would support someone who helped to destabilize West Asia. Now I want to make it perfectly clear why it is that I'm making this video. It is to document how the most prominent online political commentators will downplay, excuse, and outright ignore the very things the left should be opposed to. And they do this for their own comfort and security, for their career ambitions. That is why they've maintained this space so white, in order to avoid accountability for their allegiance to whiteness. So to my fellow bastards of colonization, I ask you this: would you feel safe about Graham Platner? Would you warn your loved ones about him? Or have you surrendered to their pathetic standards of redemption? So let's square up the truth and beat down every excuse and lie from the white supremacist left.
There are 2 different species of humans in the world: the colonized and the colonizers.
In kind of a non-traditional campaign move, your team actually shared some opposition research on you with me. It's a video from, I believe, a decade ago. Let's just watch an excerpt and then we should talk about it. The reason that we are showing this video is because at the very end, you can see a tattoo on your chest. I've been told that some of your political opponents are telling reporters that that tattoo has a Nazi affiliation. And I would like to know, is that accurate? Are you a secret Nazi?
I am not a secret Nazi. Actually, if you read through my Reddit comments, I think you can pretty much figure out where I stand on Nazism,
right,
and anti-Semitism and racism in general. I would say a lifelong opponent.
That's Tommy Vitor giving Graham Platner a tongue bath. He was Obama's spokesman. You'd figure that he'd be aware of white supremacist symbols. Instead, he plays stupid and he tries to mislead his audience into believing that it is only Graham Platner's political opponents who are fabricating a connection between the SS Totenkopf death skull and Nazis. The smug tone that he takes when asking Graham Platner, "Are you a secret Nazi?" is meant to signal to the viewer that this is a ridiculous accusation that must be laughed off. As for Grant Platner, it was thought that he was on Pod Save America to address his misogynist post about how women shouldn't be getting drunk if they don't want to be sexually assaulted. Quote, rape is a real thing. If you're so worried about it to buy Kevlar underwear, you think you might not get blacked out, fucked up around people you aren't comfortable with. Look, it's literally at the start of my video. It's literally after the intro. I'm highlighting the fact that, hey, this guy's a misogynist. This guy's excusing rape occurring in the US military. And all these white people from Emma Vigeland to Hassan Piker want to act like, how could we possibly have seen this coming? And it's so frustrating because, look, I don't care if I get these videos out when it's, most prominent. I don't care if they're going to be trending. That's not my objective, my goal. My goal is to make something concise and that is clearly communicated in a way that people, even those that aren't as politically inclined or in the know, are able to understand, grasp, hopefully internalize, and maybe even share. That is my goal. That is my objective. I don't care if it's trendy. Do I wish sometimes that I had, more free time to devote to this? Absolutely. Is that like an end goal of mine? I don't even know, to be honest with you. I didn't plan for this to go this way, to have the support that y'all have been giving me. It's difficult because I don't know if I would ever feel comfortable making this a full-time gig. Would it allow me to get these videos out quicker, to stream when shit like this happening with more time? I have a hard out at 8 today because I have a 12-hour shift tomorrow, right? So I don't know. What I do know is that today, for most of my shift, I spent being a shop steward. I spent with somebody taking a drug test. I spent with somebody being walked out and suspended. That's what I was doing today. And guess what? I was getting shit from my other coworkers for not being on the job site like I should be. Right? And like, that's what I sign up for. That's what I sign up for. That's what I want to do. That's what I enjoy doing. I'm there. And the thing is, it's not always somebody that you're going to get along with. It's not somebody that you're going to like. It may be somebody that you bump heads with. But the one thing that I want people to know, that if you call me as a shop steward, I'm going to fucking fight for you. I'm going to try and finesse things for you on your behalf. We're going to have a fucking game plan. And we're going to do our best. Some things are just too fucking black and white to where you're just like, we got to ride this shit out and hope for the best. That's just the reality. And I always try to be honest and direct with anyone that I'm assisting, because you never want to give anybody false hope, especially when it comes to corporations, management. You never know. So I say all that to be like, look, this really is just a hobby and a gig, like a side gig going on. If I got my act together, maybe I could get these videos out quicker and be more prominent. But when it comes to Grant Platner specifically, I knew there was no rush because I knew more shit was going to come out after the general. Right? Excuse me, after the primary. My bad. After the primary for the Democratic Party nomination. I knew more things was going to come out. I knew that the Republican Party was sitting on more information. It was obvious to anyone. So I didn't feel like there was a rush. For the Little Bill video, there was a bit of a rush in the sense of I'm getting smeared by Georgie and his cult that somehow me and Little Bill are aligned. I'm getting smeared that somehow I'm saying that black or brown, well, they only care about black people, Jewish Zionists weren't colonizers there in Palestine, which is ridiculous. I've never said that. It's never been my position. But you can tell something's a little off when people get uncomfortable when you want to appropriately bring attention to the fact that white supremacy is the fundamental pillar to all this settler colonialism. So that being said, that was the only kind of reason why I like kind of wanted to put it out in a timely manner. But more importantly, it was because I felt that Little Bill fucking did me dirty and, from my opinion, disrespected Dr. Ball's platform. He disagrees with that, to be clear. But that's how I felt. That's how I still feel. So that was the only reason why I wanted to get that shit out there and to wash my hands from it. Because if y'all thought that that video was Little Bill talking in his car was bad, imagine the hours that I spent listening to that, editing that, cutting, pasting shit, moving things around to make it flow better. I can't even begin to tell you how much I fucking despise that man at this point. You know, making fun of Georgie is like, it's a fun pastime, bro. Like, I'm in that guy's head, and it's so bad that, like, how do you not ignore somebody with, like, not even 10K subscribers, right? But with somebody like Little Bill, like, I actually dislike to the point that, like, I don't want anything to do with him. And that's always been a key difference with me, right? Like, I like annoying certain people. But if I really don't fuck with you, I don't want you anywhere near me. I will cross the street. I'll do all that, not because I'm afraid of you, not because I'm trying to dodge the fade, not because, no. Because I sincerely want to carry out my life like you do not exist. To be reminded that you're living and fucking breathing and allowed to share your fucking thoughts freely. Hell, make a life off of that. Enrages me to such a fucking primal manner that I can't even fucking communicate it. This other shit is just fucking, it's low-key fun. That's what they don't get. It's like, I enjoy this shit. Because for them, this is their fucking life. And that's why I'm kind of like, I don't know if I want that for me. All that being said, I appreciate all the support. I'm not gonna lie, I appreciate all the support. So I'm rambling. I'm rambling all that, right? I'm rambling. But what I'm getting at is, I'm okay with reshooting this. This is just 35 minutes, and that's probably half of what I plan to do. And I literally had to just pump the brakes and be like, bro, like, there's gonna be so much shit that comes out. You don't need to rush this. And because of the move and everything, I had to, like, I'm gonna have to reshoot that because of my background. It's just the way it is. So I just, in my mind, I can't conceptualize it looking fluid without reshooting the first part in order to match the backgrounds. That's, I don't know. I can't help it. That's just how I'll only be happy if I reshoot it. I'm sorry. So I'm going to reshoot it. I'm going to work on that. I appreciate y'all being here. Do me a favor, hit the like button. And look, I did put this behind the paywall because the goal is to reshoot this and put it just out on YouTube. But if you want to like peep what I already did, what I got hammered out already, it's 35 fucking minutes. It really is, like, that shit's done. I'm just choosing to reshoot that part and then wrap it up. It's going to sound crude, but these so-called allegations, which, I mean, it's just the honest truth. It's an allegation, but I think we all agree that we believe this woman. This is who Grand Platner is. Oh, don't get me wrong, rape is a real thing. If you're so worried about it to buy Kevlar underwear, you think you might not get blacked out, fucked up around people you aren't comfortable with. Well, Grand Platner, what happens when you get blacked out, fucked up around people who thought, women who believed they could be safe and comfortable around you? So I'm gonna be locking in on that. I don't know how the streaming is gonna go for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, because I do want to give. Sometimes, you know, the bean comes out and it's like, where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? Of course, it's not playing. How did I fix it last time, chat? I think it was properties. I think that's all it was. I don't know if you heard it, but the accent like was slipping out a little too hardcore. So this is what I sounded like for a brief moment.
How do I reach these kids?
So I want to give these white rat libs, these National Socialists, an opportunity to dig the hole deeper with their weak ass excuses. We're going to cover Hassan Piker's pathetic little stream. And when I say little, like, I don't mean obviously it has like 30K fucking live viewers. I mean little intellectually. I mean little principally. I mean little morally. That's what I mean. That's what I mean by little. All right? That's a big white man over there with a big fucking platform. I won't deny that. But again, lowest common denominator. Or some mathematical bullshit that I probably slept through. Trust me, you don't have to reshoot it. We have the same colors. You know, if you don't have an artistic vision, no, just kidding. I don't know, yo. I don't know. It doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't sit right with me. Either way, I still have to knock out the second half. It's all gonna flow regardless. I'll see how I feel once I start working on it. But yeah, let's get on with this. Let's get on with this. I don't have much time. I have like 2 hours. 2 hours, and so I can at least get 6 hours of sleep and play with the dog for like half an hour. It's way too hot right now in California. Do me a favor, y'all. Do me a favor. If you're here, I appreciate you on a Monday. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I mean, honestly, we don't fuck around with white people over here. You know, Paul knows what's up. Paul was getting jumped last time. It's all good. Your average white won't handle it. But if you're a little tough, just a tiny bit, not too much. If you could take a joke, if you're humble, you'll be fine. I promise you'll be fine. Now, if you're one of those whites that says, not all whites, then like Georgie, vas a chillar. That's just the way it is. We don't cater to whiteness over here. So do yourself a favor, support the channel. Super chats, super stickers, and memberships are turned on. The jewels, the gifted, all that nonsense is on there. Check out the Patreon. $2 gets you access to the Discord. I forgot what tier I put this up on. It felt nasty, but I still wanted to work with it in some regard. So I'm like, let me just show some people that I haven't been just yapping. I've been working. I promise you that much. In my own weird, dysfunctional procrastination, time mismanagement way, but I've been working. I don't want to ever make anyone feel like I'm just taking their support, especially financial, for granted. That's not who I am. It takes me a whole lot to feel comfortable even asking for it. It is what it is. If you want to skip all the nonsense, check out the Cash App. That's always a fucking pleasant surprise. Let's get to this. Let's get to this. All right. Okay. 2 hours of anti-Italianism. Now I need to stop drinking this because this is cold brew. My sleep schedule has been basura. Even 4th of July, if y'all have dogs, you know what's up. If you have dogs, you know what's up because Charlie, like, my dog was not having it. My dog was not having it. That means I wasn't having it because, you know, Huskies, notorious for keeping their fucking opinions to themselves. So yeah, there we go. Yeah. Funny enough, Graham says Platner advertised who he is, literally, on his chest. And I said this, look, being a Nazi is not sufficient. It's not enough for these fucking colonizers to call you out, to say you're not part of us, right? It's not enough. It's not enough. All right, let's get this going over here. Dugrat, hey, I heard the colonizers are fighting amongst themselves. If only they would go back to their real cannibalizing ways. That'd be awesome. Carlos, as someone who lost my glorious mane to age and white fatigue, you gotta let the hair out more, man. I would. It's so fucking hot right now. It's like an oven out here. Hey, I don't know how I feel about this, but I will tell you this much. Criterion Collection is having a sale right now, 50% off. Check that out, because God knows I did. I try to behave. I try to limit myself. But there's too many good fucking... Do I show you all this? All right, well, let me show y'all. Let me be a little annoying. Let me be a little annoying real quick. So, because once we get started with this, it's gonna be a heavy ass fucking story. And I do want to say, this is sin querer queriendo, como dice el chavo. I really wanted this book for quite some time. Very unique artist, very simple artistic style, but one that I appreciate. Beautiful, fucking gorgeous, just outstanding. Look at the back. God damn. And this is probably wrong. I haven't studied enough of their art style, but the way that they use negative space, oh, perfect. The way that they use negative space reminds me of The Long Halloween. And so I grabbed this, and I got a suggestion for, like I said, the Criterion Collection, 50% off. I need help. And I got recommended this. So I came up on it. 50% off, why not? It wasn't until I set them down next to each other that I realized it's the same fucking name. I don't know. All right. Let's get to it. Maybe someday I'll sell out enough to be like, here's my Amazon wish list. But not today, and not quite. Okay, let's get to it. I just finished Long Halloween. Recently, it was getting a lot of flack. I don't know why. It's an amazing fucking story. Even the follow-up is pretty fucking solid for a fucking sequel. But again, it was being compared to Year One, and Year One is fucking... Literally, my only complaint about Year One, not long enough. That's my only fucking complaint. The artists, the vibes of Gotham. Anywho. All right, let's get started. God damn, that's good. Okay. All right, let's get serious. So how many white people can excuse Nazism, but not sexual assault? And so look, the title of this stream, I actually was going to go a little bit more audacious with it. Maybe even insensitive. But that's not my goal here tonight. But what I will say is that it's telling. It's fucking illuminating. Damn, I don't know what the fuck's going on with the color grading on this. Is it just me, or am I tripping out? The color grading for the stream. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Oh well. It is what it is. I was gonna be a little bit more audacious with the title of the stream, and I chose to pull back to not be disrespectful to anyone that's actually experienced sexual assault. I didn't want to make light of it. But what I will say is, and if you follow me on Twitter, everything's the same deculturation on everywhere. I did say that all these white people, these rad libs, it'll be interesting how many of them would draw their own personal red lines on Graham Platner sexually assaulting a white woman compared to the countless, an unknown number of brown Muslims in Iraq and Afghanistan that Graham Platner himself personally has murdered. Understand that that number is not 0. Understand that that number is not 1. We know that much because Graham Platner has admitted to loving the violence, to enjoying massacring people weaker than him. Because in his fucking Reddit post, he said, I want to be part of small wars. This fucking coward did not want to be part of World War II. He did not want to be part of any war where it was relatively equal armies facing each other. No, what he wanted to do was to colonize. What he wanted to do was to have the superior firepower, superior weaponry, superior everything. The numbers, the technology, you fucking name it. That's what he wanted to experience. That's where he felt most comfortable because he's a fucking bully. And look, I said I fucking hate bullies. If we're talking about Graham Platner sexually assaulting a woman, to Georgie, Bad Empanada, sexually harassing women online, for me, that behavior is a very thin line of will you do it in person or not. Graham Platner is a large enough man that he can get away with it. Georgie the incel might not be able to physically assault women the way that he would want to, in the way that he presents himself to be doing online. It's a very thin line. And you have to oppose this shit wherever and however it comes about. You have to hold that fucking line because these men are predators. It's just, do they have the opportunity? Do they have the opportunity to play out these fantasies of theirs? That's really the only question. It's astonishing, man. It's astonishing how normalized this type of behavior is. The fact that he was downplaying rape in the fucking military, in the US military, and then people like Emma Vigeland were downplaying those comments. People like Crystal Ball were downplaying those comments. Women. But it's white feminism to only worry about white women, even then when it's convenient. Even then, only when it's convenient. Let's get started with this. Exclusive. Woman who dated Graham Platner says he sexually assaulted her. The main Democrat denied the allegations and said any accusation of non-consensual behavior is categorically untrue. This is by Jessica Pepper and Adam Wren. This was actually published today. A woman who dated Maine U.S. Senate candidate Graham Platner says he forced her to have sex with him nearly 5 years ago, despite her repeated objections, an allegation Platner denies. The woman, a 41-year-old Maine resident named Jenny Rassicott, any other stream, detailed the alleged incident to Politico in 3 interviews over the past 2 weeks. Politico also spoke with a man, Rassicott, dated and confided in the years after the alleged incident, and reviewed documents, including emails between Rassicott and her therapist, Actually, hold on. I want to make sure I'm saying her name correctly.
With Graham Platner as a very good example.
There's no way the audio is that fucking bad. That is horrendous. Why would you do that? That is atrocious.
You described your relationship with Graham Platner as a very good example of what modern dating is like.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is that, I think there's a lot of situationships. I think people are dating multiple people at the same time, whether that's known or not known by the people involved. So it was just a very common practice is what I
haven't seen this. It's kind of strange to open up about dating like this when she's been sexually assaulted. What I will say is, who's got the fucking energy and time for that? Who's got the energy and time and the patience to deal with multiple other people? It's never been a skill of mine. Catering to one person's needs, wants, desires, goals, ambitions is difficult enough. So I never understood this almost compulsive need of individuals to want to put more of that on their plate. I think it's definitely a me thing, though. We can tell. What the fuck does that mean? You know the fuck? How would y'all know? I try to keep this shit under wraps, but I was hoping to. Why wouldn't they introduce her? All right, let's get back to this though. I was hoping to hear what how to pronounce her name. Yeah, vets get out and then we get called all sorts of shit by woke people who themselves benefit from the spoils of US imperialism. So yeah, you are the victim. That makes you the victim for sure. Yeah, I'm sorry that you had to go through the consequences of your actions. Wow. I mean, you're a fucking war criminal that should be doing the Mussolini pose, but no, yeah, you get called out. This motherfucker's acting like it's the 60s where random people are just gonna call you what you actually fucking are, right? It's hilarious. But yes, I know you wish you were in a world where you could just massacre people with no repercussions, with no judgment, where you could sexually assault women, both in and outside of the military, with no justification. I know you wish that was you. Ooh. It's a good thing I spotted that right now. Give me one sec. Did I let this play? Because I need to grab something. A charger to be specific. Oh, it's right there. It'll be quick.
I viewed it as.
And kind of casual.
Yeah, very casual.
And when did you meet him and how did you meet him?
Met him on Bumble actually in 2019. And I had known who he was. He grew up in the next town over. We had like a mutual family friend, so I always knew of his existence, but that was when we actually met.
And what did you think of him?
At first I thought he was great. He's very well spoken, he's intelligent, he's charming. I thought a lot of good things. We had a great first date. It went and flowed really well.
He has described himself as self-medicating with alcohol.
Yeah.
Not enough self-medicating with shotguns. Politico also spoke with a man that Rassicot dated and confided in the years after the alleged incident, and reviewed documents included emails, Razika and her therapist, and messages between Razika and her acquaintance, whom she warned against getting involved with Platner years before he ran for office. Look, women, femmes, I know there's a weird thing where it's like, oh, she's just jealous of what you have, or she's just like a bitter ex. But why even risk it? You know what I mean? Why even risk it? Why not just be like, you know what? I'm going to hedge the odds over here and not interact with this man if he has this type of reputation. My thing is, veterans, there's a solution to your PTSD, and it's 100% on you. Razikot said she had an on and off relationship with Platner, who is now the Democratic Senate nominee in Maine, for more than 2 years before he entered her rural Maine home uninvited one night in late 2021. Deeply intoxicated, and forced himself on her while she repeatedly told him to stop. She said she cut off contact with him after telling him the encounter was not consensual. I remember him grabbing my pelvis and being really forceful of me, she said. I remember the specific moment where I thought to myself, like, this is no longer my choice. Platner denied the allegations. Actually, let's look at that. Not because we believe him, but because I think it's important to see the performance that he gives. Should be the first one right here, yeah. I don't know, Forbes, their audio's kind of trash. Did he only post it on his social media platform?
I wanted to directly address the troubling, serious, and false allegations against me. Any accusation of non-consensual behavior is categorically false. Over the last 10 months, I have been deeply humbled by the faith Mainers have put in me. You have welcomed me into your homes, into your places of work, into your restaurants, into your houses of worship. You have shown that a different kind of politics, one that puts the interests of people over corporations, is not just possible, but is inevitable. This movement we have built, the largest volunteer base.
I will say this, the cuts and the edits. Do you think it's really the time to show us your different fucking directorial techniques?
One that puts the interests of people over corporations is not just possible, but is inevitable. This move.
This motherfucker's like, get a little closer. Let me, check out a movie called, what was it? It's not While We're Young. It's with Ben Stiller and Adam Driver. While We're Young, yes. Came out in 2014. Why am I bringing this up? It's not just a tangent. Check out the movie. It's pretty solid for what it is. Especially if you're getting older. But there's a whole premise of filming a documentary. And you realize what an absolute narcissist one of the characters is when in the middle of a heartfelt moment, he starts controlling remotely the camera to zoom in into himself. Now, obviously, Graham Platner is not the one zooming in, but he's surrounding himself with people who are protecting him and encouraging his type of narcissism. I know Hassan Piker is claiming that Graham Platner will drop out. I doubt that. The guy that came out and said, "Oh no, my Nazi tattoo isn't a Nazi tattoo," I don't think he's gonna drop out. So I just want to point out that I think it's fucking weird that they're making these stylized editing maneuvers in a denial video about sexual assault.
Movement we have built, the largest volunteer base in the history of Maine politics, the hundreds of thousands of grassroots donors, and the supporters across the ideological spectrum, we were united in a love of Maine, a belief that our politics must change, and a focus on defeating Susan Collins. So, regardless of the inaccuracy of the reporting, but mindful of the political reality it will inflict, we are taking the time to reflect on the best path forward.
And just like this other veteran guy over here, forever the fucking victim. Forever the fucking victim. I mean, you can make yourself a permanent victim and make the world a better place. You and Graham Platner and all your fucking brothers in arms. All you people too fucking weak to have a regular fucking job 9 to 5. But this whole idea of like Graham Platner saying this is a lie. But unfortunately, you know, people are going to believe this fucking lie. And so we have to address it. We have to acknowledge it. Oh, man, more lies. More lies about my bravery. More lies about my character. God damn it. While you and I know that I'm a victim of this, of the consequences of my actions, I just have to address this because life is not fair to me, a 6-foot white man born with rich parents.
Okay.
For the state that I love, the people that I love, the movement I belong to, and the goal of defeating Susan Collins.
Hold on, the movement he belongs to?
Of the inaccuracy of the reporting, but mindful of the political reality it will inflict, we are taking the time to reflect on the best path forward for the state that I love, the people that I love, the movement I belong to, and the goal of defeating Susan Collins.
What movement does Graham Platner belong to? Because he's not even endorsed by DSA. So what movement is he talking about? He's talking about his campaign? Hassan Piker calls them Bernie-crats in some type of honorable way, but in really it's just, in all reality, it's just a normalization of National Socialism in U.S. politics. Is that the movement? The National Socialist movement? All right.
Those were the goals when we launched this campaign.
Another one?
The goal of defeating Susan Collins. Those were the goals when we movement I belong to, and the goal of defeating Susan Collins. Those were the goals when we launched this campaign.
This is fucking gross. I'll tell you why. Let me mute it for a second. Look at his eyebrows. They're doing this in a stylized manner. I know it sounded like I was just being nitpicky before. I didn't realize how often they were doing this because I first saw this like on Twitter, so I wasn't really paying attention to the camera. Look at his eyebrows. Look at his eyebrows. Like he raises them as the camera comes in closer. He raises them to express more concern, more of an intimate one-on-one. He's trying to like dodge sexual assault allegations with a puppy dog eyes. Maine, I'm sorry, Maine. Maine, I'm sorry, Maine. Maine, you know I love you, Maine. You know I would never do something like this, Maine. Maine, Maine, look at me, Maine. They called me a Nazi, Maine, and you ignored them. You saw my tattoo, Maine. You didn't let your deceiving eyes fool you, Maine. So look at me now, Maine. Maine. I won't take no for an answer. Maine. Listen here. Susan Collins. Donald Trump. Remember that, Maine. It's just so fucking, like, is this what it's like to be a white man? You just have to fucking play the victim every single fucking time. When they were quoting him, when they were quoting Graham Platner, his own fucking words, he called it a smear campaign. How can your own words be a fucking smear campaign? I'm not trying to make light of this. This is what he's doing. Look at him. Maine. I mentioned fucking Ben Stiller earlier. Holy shit, like he's trying to do like the puppy dog fucking Blue Steel over here. Maine, look into my colored eyes. Do you think a war criminal, mercenary, neo-Nazi aficionado would ever do something like this to a woman? Sure, I denied sexual assault and rape in the US military. But she's just a peasant, a civilian, a nobody. Why would I do that to her? It's fucking disgusting, bro.
That I love, the movement I belong to, and the goal of defeating Susan Collins. Those were the goals when we launched this campaign, and they remain my goals today. On June 9th, 154,058 Mainers, the most in primary history, voted to reject a broken politics beholden to Washington and the donor class. They voted for hope, for change, to take back our economy, to take back our power, and to take back our Senate seat. Throughout it all, you never turned your back on me, and I will not turn my back on you now. Every one of you deserves to see that vision come to fruition and see Susan Collins defeated, and we will use every tool at our disposal to do so. As Maine goes, so goes the nation. As always, thank you.
Just fucking disgusting, through and through. Absolutely fucking disgusting. Somebody broke down how to say her name, potentially. I have no idea where it's at. My apologies, y'all. Trying to find it just to be respectful. Like I said, any other stream and it's a different conversation, but because I'm pretty sure that's an Italian last name. Rossico? Rossico. Okay. Rossico previously described reckless and unsettling behavior by Platner to the New York Times, but says she didn't go public with the specific assault claim because she didn't want to be known as a rape victim. Again, the stigma of being a rape victim, of a survivor, is a huge part of why these fucking animals get to go on their lives, get to go on living as if they don't need to get fucking put down like a dog with fucking rabies. Because this is an infestation, right? They spread this shit. When we talk about rape culture, these are the people leading it. The ones that want to normalize their abhorrent, disgusting, abusive behavior. There's a reason why he was on Reddit mocking women that were taking precaution to stop animals like him. That's what Grant Platner was doing. This is look, I'm not, all bullshit aside. Earlier when I brought up George Baden-Panay and his sexual harassment of women online, understand that Grant Platner was getting drunk, supposedly on Reddit, and excusing rape, mocking it. And what I'm saying is, the way that you're acting online is a reflection of the type of behavior that you want to normalize in person. And no better example than Grant Platner. Kyle said, Platner could sext his mom and he would still vote for him. I wonder what he's saying now. Yep. Absolutely disgusting, but that's exactly what he said. And to be honest, the way that Kyle Kalinske, carries himself, oh my God, there's no fucking way. There's absolutely no fucking way. I was about to look this shit up. Fuck, Vic, this is not a tangent. Fuck that. Look at this fucking app. You fucking, talking about animals. Talking about fucking disgusting people. Oh, you're being sexist. Fuck no. This is a fucking Zionist that is spreading and normalizing liberal Zionist propaganda. This is somebody who does not give a fuck about brown Muslims. Not when it comes to her comfortable life. Not when it comes to her ability to live in that promise of an American dream. I don't give a fuck what she has to say. Understand that Emma Vigeland excused and downplayed the sexual harassment allegations against Andrew Callahan from Channel 5 News, formerly known as All Gas No Breaks. This motherfucker took a 3-month hiatus. Came back and did a video on the border or something like that. And Emma Vigeland publicly acknowledged, oh yeah, there were some accusations against him, but he did his time or some shit like that. Like, he took a break. I love his work. It happened right after he came back. He dipped out for a little bit. He had an HBO show or documentary, something like that. All the allegations came out against him. He denied them, kinda. And then he came back with, I believe it was a documentary or a little coverage on the border. And she was praising him left and right while downplaying the sexual allegations against him. I need to find that. It's somewhere, but it lines up with when he came back from those accusations. So let's listen to this. Wow. Just shameless fucking subhuman individual. A legit fucking demon, bro. When we talk about white women and their allegiance to white supremacy, she's demonstrated that time and time again. She doesn't give a fuck what happens to brown people, to Muslims, but one white woman. And let's see what nonsense she has to say. Emma Vigeland, y'all.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to jump on here to address the serious, credible allegations against Graham Platner. This story is devastating. I believe the victim here. I think that Graham should drop out of the race. He has betrayed many, many supporters by not being forthright about this. I would include myself in that. I believed his campaign when they said that there was nothing new coming out, and it looks like...
Why would you believe that if... Holy shit, you see this up here? Her mother and Kyle Kalinski's mother up here. Crystal Ball. All it takes is one fucking accusation from a white woman for all these other fucking white people to come out here and abandon Grant Platner but countless fucking people that he machine gunned down in Iraq and Afghanistan, all the fucking wet dreams that he was having about time traveling and colonizing the fucking globe on behalf of the US empire. And they treated him like he was fucking Rambo. Like, oh, poor guy. He just came back and was struggling. So, of course, he had to go back. Oh, poor guy. He just came back and was struggling even more. So, of course, he had to be a fucking mercenary. We cannot allow these fucking white people off the hook. They were normalizing white supremacists. They were normalizing a fucking neo-Nazi. They were normalizing a mercenary. They were normalizing somebody that was so eager to massacre brown Muslims that he went to join a war that he even opposed as a child. He was so eager that he went from the Marines to the fucking army and still maintained his position as a machine gunner despite being offered promotions to get off of the front lines. He wanted to pull the trigger. That's how sick this fucking man is. But all it took is one white woman. That's all it took. One white woman to make an accusation, which I'm not denying, which I'm not downplaying. But understand, they do not value your fucking life. Grand Platner could have massacred your entire fucking family. Emma Vigeland, Sam Cedar, Hassan Piker, Kyle KKK Kalinske, Crystal Ball, you fucking name him. The Vanguard over there. Every single one of them would have excused Grand Platner. But God forbid that he sexually assaults somebody that might look like their mom, that might look like their aunt, that might look like their cousin, their niece, their sister, you fucking name it. And then he's gone too far.
An awful, awful accusation, an incredible one has come out. Now, this movement has never been about one individual. Any candidate that takes up the mantle here.
Well, it's not about one individual. It's about whiteness at large. Takes up the mantle. The mantle of what? Being a Democratic Party nominee? To continue serving a genocidal fucking party? That fucking mantle? Oh, golly gee. Might as well be fucking Thor's hammer with how righteous you have to be.
Should share Graham's belief or the campaign's belief in ending complicity in the genocide in Gaza, Medicare for all, taxing billionaires, and more. But obviously, this is a devastating.
You see how fucking pathetic these democratic socialists are? Self-proclaimed democratic socialists when they're really just your average fucking liberal, little spicy rat lip if you want to give them that. But don't give them a fucking inch. Not supporting genocide, which they haven't done because they're still supporting the Democratic Party that carried out a genocide. Taxing the rich. So not even opposing capitalism, just taxing the rich. As if that's a fucking solution. And Medicare for all. In other words, we're fine with individuals like Grand Platner invading other countries and massacring people there as long as I can go to the fucking doctor. Wow, so fucking brave.
Devastating development, and we'll be talking about it more on the Majority Report tomorrow.
Fucking disgusting. Let me see here. Hold on. Let me find this. Well, this is what I originally logged on to look for. Kyle Kalinske says, Grant Platner could have sexted my mom and I'd still vote for him. What else could Grant Platner do to your mother, Kyle? What else would you allow Grant Platner to do to your mother? Obviously without her consent. That you'd still support. Because we know that you got like a weird thing going on with your mother because you're married to Crystal Ball, who after seeing the SS Totenkopf Death Skull, a Nazi fucking tattoo, she became more of a ride or die for Graham Platner. But hey, I'm sure that the SS never engaged in any rape.
Oh, guess what, guys? Graham Platner's tattoo. Oh, guess what, guys? Graham Platner's tattoo has made me more ride or die for him than ever. Oh, guess what, guys? Graham Platner's tattoo has made me more ride or die for him than ever. Oh, guess what, guys? Graham Platner's tattoo has made me more ride or die for him than ever.
Just absolutely disgusting. Absolutely fucking disgusting. This fucking guy. Ryan Grimm says the Platner campaign canceled events over the weekend and has since canceled more, as word swirls among consultants, super PACs, and lawmakers that a very damning allegation is coming as early as this afternoon. Ryan Grimm knew from the start that Graham Platner was a rapist. Ryan Grimm knew from the start that Graham Platner was a rapist. That's why he's been working so hard, both on Bad Faith with Brianna Joy Gray, both on Breaking Points with Kristen Sager. He's known, understand this, Ryan Grimm has known that Graham Platner was a rapist. That's why he's been angling this whole, oh, no, white men are the real victims. Oh, no. You know, women just need to treat white men better. That's the sole reason why he's been angling this fucking approach, to try and mediate any accountability that Graham Platner would be forced to take for his sexual assault. Ryan Grimm has been bragging that Graham Platner was his bartender or some shit, doing the whole AOC spin, that they were cool back in the day. That's why he was so devoted to him. I have no doubt in my fucking mind that Ryan Grimm knew that Graham Platner was a rapist and still fucking supported him and still tried to lay down the groundwork, pad his fucking landing. And this shit's funny. This shit's funny, like just hilarious. Here it is. And then you have George over here. Obsessive Georgie over here. Bro, who knows what fucking cases you got on yourself, homie? If the way that you talk to women online, the way that you sexualize every political conversation to sexually harass them is fucking disgusting. These fucking white men. Maybe if murdering brown people had been a disqualifier, we wouldn't be here right now. Maybe if murdering brown people had been a disqualifier, we wouldn't be here to begin with. Another day, another reminder that much of the American left only seems to treat rape and murder as disqualifying when the victims are Americans and not overseas. Absolutely. No, we gotta find Crystal Ball. We gotta find Kyle's mother. Where are we at? Let me search it up. Let's see if she's still a ride or die. Let's find out. What is your latest fucking bullshit? Here it is. Crystal Ball says, I agree that Platner should drop out. The allegations are horrible, and I see no reason why his accuser would lie. Some things have to be beyond the pale. The mass murdering brown Muslims in Iraq and Afghanistan is not beyond the pale. Absolutely fucking abhorrent. Fuck, man. And so now they're trying to spin it and focus on what the way that Republicans are reacting to this.
The one thing I know about Republicans, when we had a very bad candidate and found out, we didn't vote for that person. Right. We walked away.
For better or for worse.
Yeah. When Matt Gaetz came forward, we got rid of him.
Yeah. Kevin McCarthy, as always, great to see you. Thank you.
Great to see you.
You've got to be kidding me. Maybe don't fucking support a Nazi. Maybe don't support and normalize a fucking Nazi and you won't be in this fucking situation. Congratulations. You went from normalizing Nazis to normalizing rapists. Congratulations. Wow, the fucking narcissism is so unique. Crystal Ball retweeted this from Hassan Piker. Admits calls for all of us to drop out. There's a real populist rage brewing in Maine. If the Dem establishment think that they can risk the Senate majority by not replacing Platner with an acceptable substitute, we will be risking a loss to Susan Collins. Troy Jackson is him. I knew it was a bad idea to do this. Holy shit, man. Just absolute shameless fucking ghouls. Troy Jackson says, there is no place in our politics for sexual violence, not in our party, not in any party. Graham Platner must withdraw from this race today. This is not what we stand for. Not as Democrats. You just carried out a fucking genocide. Joe Biden had legitimate rape accusations against him. Bill Clinton was buddies with fucking Epstein. What the fuck are you talking about? Not in our party. Not as Mainers, not as human beings. For too long, women who survive sexual violence have been told to stay quiet, to protect the men who hurt them, to think about the campaign, the party, the cause. We cannot ask women to trust us with their futures while looking the other way when one of our own hurts them. That ends here. I believe in Jenny. How do you say your fucking last name? I'm not even trying to be rude. Rassicot? But my question is, amidst calls from all of us to drop out, oh, okay. He's saying from all of us to Graham Platner to drop out. Interesting. But notice how they're censoring still beating Susan Collins and having a majority in the Senate. That's still the priority and concern number one, not the fact that you were supporting a very obvious sexual abuser. Again, I'm not reaching. I'm not reaching when I'm saying, hey, notice the way people are interacting. Men, white men are interacting online with women. And be aware of that. I'm not reaching. Graham Platner was downplaying rape in the U.S. military. And we found out that he was a rapist. Hassan Piker, with his constant misogyny online, is a legitimate fucking sex tourist in a brothel that had underage sex workers. In that case, victims of trafficking. That him and his audience downplay. Hassan Piker has called the police on his ex-girlfriend, who was also a sex worker, for daring to ignore him. There's a fucking pattern. So when I say that George Benapanada is out here sexually harassing women online and that we should be concerned with what he does to them in person, I'm not doing that out of pettiness. I'm doing it because I see a fucking pattern of behavior from all these fucking white men online that claim to be leftists. Noah Sampson, who FD is fucking buddies with, who Benapanada's buddies with, who Hassan Piker's buddy with. Apparently, Noah Sampson can do no fucking wrong and he's cool with everyone. Got famous, blew up finally after making horrible little sketch comedy videos by calling out misogyny on TikTok, only to turn around and mock the woman that Destiny leaked sexual content of to get a fucking own on Loner Box. This was in 2026. You see a pattern of behavior. And we have to be aware of this shit. Rasika says she later felt compelled to go public about her experience because the reaction to the Times story was dominated by controversy about another woman, Lindsay Byfield, who alleged Platner mistreated her and faced attacks because of her ties to the Republican Party. Contacted by Politico, Byfield stood by the allegations she made to the Times and declined to comment further. So Lindsay Feinfeld said, hey, he was physically aggressive with me. Right? He grabbed me by the wrist, threw me in a room, and then closed the door. That's already removing agency from somebody. That's already violating their consent, their freedom of movement, their ability to make choices. You're already controlling their bodies, literally moving their fucking bodies, to bending them to your will. And all these fucking white rad libs, Sam Cedar, Emma Vigeland, Hassan Piker, Crystal Ball, Kyle Kalinske, you fucking name it, the Vanguard, all downplayed this because Lindsay Fifield was connected to the Republican Party. And my question was, why the fuck is Graham Platner, an anti-fascist his entire life, dating a Republican operative? Why would he be comfortable with a Republican? If he's such a fucking man of the people, the working class, how does that relationship work out? Nobody stopped to think about that. They all ran to the fact that this woman is clearly lying about a fucking war criminal who was denying sexual assault, mass rape within the U.S. military. How fucking convenient. My part of the story was just a read-over, Rasika said in an interview. And the story was Lindsay and the accusations of her being politically motivated. Rasika said she was torn over coming forward in part because she agrees with Platner politically. Again, how does that fucking work? What do you mean you agree with him politically? Do these people not read their fucking campaign excuse me, do these people not read Grant Platner's campaign platform? You agree that we should be paying service members, fucking war criminals more? That we should be enticing people to join them as the economy fucking collapses, as the US is falling apart? That we should be enticing young adults to join the military for financial necessity? That's what we should be fucking encouraging? We should be encouraging a war with China? Is that what we should be doing? Is that what you agree with? We shouldn't be anti-war. We should be no more endless wars. Is that what you agree with? One of the reasons I didn't come forward sooner was the huge moral conflict that I had between supporting his politics but not supporting him as a person, she said. I just want the truth out there. I just want people to have a whole scope of who he is as a person. We fucking known that he's a liar. That he'll walk back anything in order to appear like a good guy. But they didn't fucking care. People did not care at all. All right, y'all. In a statement, the Platner campaign reiterated his denial and accused critics of trying to drive him out of the race. Always the fucking victim. Grown ass man, always the fucking victim. These allegations are very serious, and Graham vigorously denies them. They are also coached and coordinated by out-of-state establishment operatives. For a year, opponents of this campaign have thrown everything they can at Graham, calling him a Nazi, a war criminal, and a communist. He called himself a communist. He went to a war that he thought was illegal. He boycotted the Iraq war because he thought it was illegitimate. So he believes that he's a war criminal. He would call himself a war criminal before anyone of us knew who he was. And a Nazi. I'm sorry, if you have a Nazi tattoo, you're a fucking Nazi. It's not complicated. It never has been. And he was talking about the perks of being able to go overseas to what Asian countries? I think he said Thailand. For the sex tourism, which is probably the major reason why Hassan Piker actually supported him. None of it has been true, and this is no different. It is not a coincidence that this story comes a week before the ballot deadline, just as the previous false allegations came a week before the primary. Graham began this campaign to fight for a Maine where everyone is treated with dignity and where Mainers are put first, and no amount of desperate smears will stop this movement from seeing that vision through. Platner, as an oysterman and Platner as a fucking business owner and political newcomer, when he launched his Senate campaign last August, easily won the Democratic primary last month to face GOP Susan Collins in one of the nation's most highly watched Senate races. His remarkable rise has been tainted by controversies, including offensive online comments and allegations of past mistreatment of women. He has not previously been accused of sexual assault. The Iraq and Afghanistan war veteran has linked some of his behavior to mental health struggles and alcohol abuse. Aw, poor baby. But he says he's changed and has denied previous claims that he was abusive to women. Rassicott told Politico she connected with Platner on the dating app Bumble in 2019 and had consensual relations with him prior to the night he allegedly assaulted her. That night in late 2021, she said she had exchanged text messages with him and told him not to come over, saying she wasn't in the mood for company. Later that evening, she said she realized when she heard a sound on the stairs that he had let himself into the house, which was unlocked. The way his supporters are going to grab onto that is just fucking disgusting. Oh, Emma Vigeland was saying that all this was Zionist Mossad smears. Platner came up the stairs, Rassicut said, to where she was on a couch. He got on top of her and kept grabbing her, she said, while she repeatedly told him to stop and that she wasn't interested. Rassicut said she smelled alcohol on his breath and believed he was almost blackout drunk because Platner ignored her protest and continued to grab her after knocking over an antique sewing kit, spilling small needles everywhere. I had been telling him these words, "No, don't," she recalled, and the look on his face and realizing what was happening. I just realized that, like, I'm in a situation where there's no consent here, she said. Rassicut said she tried to separate herself from Platner by telling him she couldn't be in the room anymore, after which he followed her to her bedroom and had sex with her against her will. She said he also ejaculated inside of her, despite her telling him not to, as she was not using birth control at the time. She went to clean herself up, she said, and when she returned, Platner had fallen asleep. She contemplated waking him up to kick him out, but worried he could hurt someone driving in the state he was in. That's another thing that his supporters are going to grab onto. Oh, well, wouldn't you kick out your abuser, your assaulter? That's what they're going to fucking say. Why was she so worried about what could have happened to him on the road and to other people after she just experienced what she experienced? And they'll use that shit to downplay it. It's unfortunate, but you have to look at, these details and be like, how are they going to fucking twist this to defend this white man? The following morning, she said, Platner tried to put his arm around her and she pushed him away. She said she asked him whether he remembered what had happened the previous night. According to Rassicut, Platner said he didn't remember. Rassicut said she told him to leave and never contact her again. Rassicut said she waited several weeks until she got her period to ensure she wasn't pregnant. Then sent Platner a private message on Instagram saying that the encounter was not consensual and that she did not want to hear from him ever again. Rassicut had no further contact with him after that, she said. Rassicut says she later deleted all her texts and social media correspondence with Platner as she tried to move on from the assault and said she had not been able to recover the Instagram messages she sent him about the incident. In the weeks after the alleged assault, Rassicut said she considered going to the police, but struggled with shock and confusion about what had happened to her and did not file a police report. Even as the time passed, she said she felt uncomfortable potentially telling a police officer about such a personal experience and feared retaliation from Platner. At first, she confided only in her therapist, who she continues to see. Rassicut showed Politico recent emails with her therapist in which Rassicut explained she was talking to the media about her relationship with Platner and the sexual assault/rape, using an abbreviation for sexual assault. In the message, Rassicut was not ready to go public and was seeking help corroborating her account in conversation. she was having with reporters on conditions of anonymity. Her therapist responded that Rassicot shouldn't have to speak publicly about a traumatic incident in order to be believed, without referencing details of any particular incident. The therapist, who Politico agreed not to name at her request, declined to comment when reached on Monday. Again, I'm not even trying to pat myself in the back. But I opened up my video saying, hey, people thought that they were there to listen to his excuse for why he was downplaying sexual assault in the US military. And instead of addressing that completely and focusing on that, he's like, well, actually, I have a Nazi tattoo. And so people dismiss the downplaying of sexual assault. Y mira qué pasó. Look what happened. It's almost like if somebody is willing to downplay sexual assault, it's for a fucking insidious reason. Rassicot also shared details about the alleged assault to the man she dated after Platner, who she began dating in 2022. The man, who was granted anonymity out of concern of his personal privacy, told Politico that Rassicot had told him in bits and pieces about the bad experience with Platner before confiding the full details of what had happened in 2023. His account of what Rassicot told him about the incident matched what Rassicot told Politico. Rassicot shared with Politico a series of private Facebook messages she exchanged with an acquaintance in 2023, about a year and a half after the alleged assault and well before Platner launched his political career, in which she cautioned the acquaintance against getting involved with Platner. In the messages, Rassicot said she had ended up in a bad situation with him, describing Platner as consensually careless and saying he doesn't listen to you when drunk. Consensually careless. And again, his supporters are going to try and like play with that and be like, well, she didn't straight up say rape. She didn't share the fact that he violated her consent completely. When in reality, you see somebody who's struggling to accept what happened to her and to see herself as a rape survivor. And so she has to kind of cushion that in order to distance herself from that reality, because she does not want to be seen as that. And so, of course, she would say something as vague, although it shouldn't be read as vague at all, as consensually careless. Because this is difficult for her, even as she's trying to warn somebody about this predator. And again, to place the responsibility on a survivor, on a victim of sexual assault, to share the burden of the abuser of having to protect his other victims by speaking out, is too much and too unfair. Reached by Politico, the acquaintance said she received the messages but declined to comment. Politico granted her anonymity at her request to protect her privacy in her Maine community. Again, Grand Platner's bragging about, Maine being such a small town, tight-knit community. I saw your post about oysters the other day. I feel morally obligated to warn you if you were anything more than just friends with Graham. But if you're not, then I'll just shut up for now and give you the scoop some time. LOL. And just friends would love the scoop though. Is he still engaged? I was working on fixing up a friend. Oh, I have no idea. With who? He kept that shit under wraps. Again, this whole idea of like people are coming after him by doing what? By exposing his own words, his own actions. Oh, golly gee, what a fucking victim. Good shit. Spectral viral. Wait, where are the other ones? Where are the other there's no way they only provided this. I'm only frustrated because when like vague shit like this is provided, his supporters are gonna cling on to this shit. Politico also spoke with a friend. Rasicot had told about the alleged assault last summer, shortly after Platner launched his campaign. The friend, to whom Politico granted anonymity due to fear of social and professional backlash, recalled Rasicot telling her about the incident, including the Platner had been very drunk and wouldn't take no for an answer. Rasicot said she was contacted by the New York Times in the spring and shared off the record that Platner had assaulted her. She told the Times that she had some positive memories of her relationship with Platner, but thought he did not respect women and had cut off contact with him after an incident in 2021 when Platner had come over drunk. But the Times article stated that Rasicot declined to elaborate about what had happened, only describing his behavior as reckless and unsettling. Again, she had some positive memories of her relationship with Platner, but thought he did not respect women. Right here. Thought he did not respect women. That is such a red fucking flag. That is such a red fucking flag. And this is why I'm like, when I see that type of fucking behavior, I call it out. That's why I've worked really hard to not slide over to being a complete misogynist when calling out white women's complicity with white supremacy. To not engage in full-throated misogyny. Porque está fácil, that shit's easy to just let it out that way. Oh shit. Thank you so much. I don't know, I haven't heard of anyone. He was of last summer that I know of, but also my timeline a little sketchy. So maybe it was the summer before, but either way, they've been on and off, but then I was told they got engaged. Yeah, COVID totally messed up my timeline for everything. What's his deal? Should I not fix him up? My friend, assuming he's single. He can be charming and funny, and he's a decently intelligent person. He's not all bad, but I ended up in a bad situation with him, and I would just say, very politely, call him consensually careless at times. When drunk plus PTSD. Ah, I knew about the PTSD. He lies also. What do I tell y'all? There's no need to fucking lie. Just be honest and consistent. That's it. There's no need to fucking lie. Grant Platner has been lying since day fucking one. And every single time. He plays the victim, he backtracks. He claims he was just joshing around, that he was just joking. It's just ridiculous the way that this type of public lying is normalized and just accepted. He lies also, forces himself on people, ? One thing that grossed me out after him, and I had dated, was that I saw his profile on OkCupid. And that site asked a lot of questions. And one of the questions was, if your partner told you they had over 100, if your partner told you they had over 100 sexual partners, what would your response be? And his response was, that's not that many. So that's super gross. Me out thinking he's probably slept with a ton of people. Again, no wonder Hassan Piker was a fan of his. Doesn't listen to you when drunk. There it is, man. After the publication of the Times report, Rassicot connected with Cheney Hunt, a progressive Democratic lawyer who founded the nonprofit A Reckoning Action, which launched earlier this year to fight misogyny. Hunt had endorsed Platner last fall, but renounced her support for him after the Times article previously supported women, renounced her support for him after the Times article previously supported women who came forward with assault allegations against former Representative Eric Swalwell earlier this year, prompting him to drop out of the California gubernatorial primary and resign from Congress. NBC News previously reported that Hunt was working with multiple women who had past relationships with Platner. Hunt contacted Politico to Rassicot. I mean, that's going to be a big part of it too, right? Her connections, Cheney Hunt's involvement with this. Again, just be prepared for the excuses. And I know sometimes it gets annoying to kind of paint or acknowledge that, but you're going to hear it. I don't think he's dropping out. I think this man's ego is too large for that. He survived. They've given him too many passes. Mind you, most of it was just his white supremacy. But we'll see. Reckoning Action exists to confront misogyny in American life in all forms and manifestations, including in bad actors being elected to positions of power. Hunt said, "We became aware of the allegations before ever being connected with Jenny and have been in contact with multiple women with really troubling allegations. And it just became clear that this is someone who's not fit to hold public office just now." Wow. Wow, okay. After the Times reported last month, Platner had said that the allegations of physical misconduct were simply not true, and his allies seized on Feinfeld's conservative political affiliations to suggest that her allegations against him in the Times article were motivated by politics. On MS Now last month, after the New York Times report, Platner denied claims that he had physically mistreated women. Anything alleging physicality, anything alleging that I knew what my tattoo was. These are statements of somebody who's politically motivated, he told MSN Now. Alluding to unrelated allegations about the tattoo resembling a Nazi symbol, Platner had the tattoo resembling a Nazi symbol covered up last fall and said he had not known what the symbol meant. What did he get it covered up with, chat? Please. Can somebody tell me what he got it covered up with?
And then like 20% is just straight up openly anti-Semitic.
Rassicot said she was bothered by Platner's public denial that he had been physical towards women. Quote, I know that he is capable of putting his hands on women, she said, so I don't believe that to be the truth. It does matter. He got it covered up with a Celtic dog. These white fucking Euro-Americans getting Celtic, Viking, Nordic fucking symbols of any degree should be seen as a fucking dog whistle to white supremacy every single fucking time. A literal fucking dog whistle on his chest. We got 30 minutes, y'all. Do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. If you're sick and tired of all these fucking white opportunists that were supporting Graham Platner's war crimes, his downplaying of sexual assault, his glorification of war, death, and destruction, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you want to know when I go live, which is usually Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. If you want to help support the channel, super chat, super stickers are turned on. We got memberships and all that crystals and gifts and all that stuff there. Check out the Patreon. $2 gets you access to the Discord. And if you want to skip all the nonsense, hit up the Cash App. I appreciate y'all sincerely and truly. Let me actually find. Let me find something to drop real quick. And after this, we're going to see Hassan Piker's reaction. Of course, he doesn't downplay this whatsoever. We know this. He's totally not downplaying this at all, guys. A man that's downplayed the Zionism of Bernie Sanders. The man who's downplayed Graham Platner's long record of fucking atrocious war crimes. I mean, come on. This is 8 months ago. Wow. Man. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's fine. All right, I'll be right back, y'all. Running against establishment favorite Democrats, Maurice Katz, a top ad maker for New York City Democratic mayoral nominee Zohran Mamdani, and Joe Galvello, a former senior aide to Senator John Fetterman. Wow.
I voted for Kamala Harris.
The
You
new
got
insiders,
problem?
man. That's the new insiders. Osborne is also ex-military. I appreciate you, Hash Breather. Thank you for the super chat. Meanwhile, he is spending 40 hours a week doing boiler maintenance and repair work at Boys Town in Omaha as a member of the Steam Fitters and Plumbers Local 474. Oh, why'd you highlight that? That's okay, about Omaha. I love this. Did you read the next paragraph? He quit within a year. And the experience clearly radicalized him against the military industrial complex. Let's read it. It was then where whatever cynicism and disillusionment I once had was just thrown into overdrive, Platner says, explaining he saw the same things he had seen years prior. Failed strategies, tactics, policies, and what can only be called fraud and theft of American taxpayer dollars. Just being shoved into the pockets of private companies. This is not the defense they think it is. He tells me that what he witnessed really underscored his larger critique that the system in the US serves to extract wealth from working class people all to give to a small handful. So that same year, he quit, went back to Maine, and began getting involved in aquaculture. I hung up the guns and never looked back. So his frustration was incompetence of the military industrial complex, not that it exists. All right. So again, it was the fraud, the theft of American taxpayer dollars, meaning that they were spent properly on war, he wouldn't be against it. If there wasn't fraud, if it was actually being carried out appropriately, he'd support it. So almost like the small scale wars that he wants to be a part of, he wants, a small budget to be part of these fucking wars. Wow. Underscore his larger critique that the system in the US serves to extract wealth from working class people. Fucking A, bro. They think that's a defense. He quit a year later. That's fucking hilarious. That's fucking hilarious. That's the same quote we just read.
I voted for Kamala Harris. You got a problem?
Oh, this is one of his fucking talking points? Oh, for sure. Yeah, he was totally radicalized by his time being a murderer for the military and military contractors. That's why he calls for the abolition of the military on his platform. Or wait, he doesn't. I've seen under the hood. I know exactly how much money is wasted and where. Send me to Washington. I will work tirelessly to rebuild the American military. Yo, I need a link to this though. What the fuck? That is hilarious. Thank y'all for sticking around. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Hit the like. Hit the notification bell if you want to know when I go live and talk shit about Wonder Bread Tube and all these white supremacist white rad libs. Man. And super chats and super stickers are turned on if you want to financially help the channel. But more importantly, get busy in the chat. We don't bite. We're not that aggressive. And if you're white, y'all be all right. Misspelled all of that. What is the actual send me to Washington? I will work tirelessly to rebuild it. I want to read the actual point. That's why. Damn, I need to get better at my typing. It's been a minute. I should have just fucking looked up platform, huh? Let's see. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Would it be in the DA one? No. No more pointless wars. There we go. I will never ever vote to send Americans into a pointless war. Why not just get a... Oh my gosh. Everything we went through in Iraq can be laid out at the feet of those in Washington. Like Senator Collins, who knew better but voted yes on a disastrous, deadly war. Damn. We have to, right? We have to see this. I have not minced words on the issue. We are sending American taxpayer dollars to underwrite the starvation of Gaza in what can only be accurately described as a genocide. I stand with all people seeking peace, democracy, and self-determination in this moment. That means a clear-eyed condemnation of the Gaza genocide. Oh, and the use of every means available to America to bring it to an end. Every means. This right here though is the Zionist whistle right here. The liberal Zionists to feel comfortable. I stand with all people seeking peace. If you feel comfortable going to war and you're fantasizing about going to war back in time, why are you supporting armed resistance outright?
Some variation.
Yo, I'm not lying to y'all. I just gave myself a concussion. I've been in and out of martial arts for most of my life now. I know what a concussion feels like. I've had a few. It's hot as hell out here, so let me grab some watermelon real quick, but half of the watermelon wasn't cut. I don't like to cut it because it's a lot just for me, so I cut half of it, cut it another half, and I start chopping it up quick, and then I reach for some napkins, and I drop some like cooking oil, and so I go to pick it up, not realizing that what was falling with the cooking oil was coconut oil, and it's in a glass container, and that shit hit me in the back of the head when I bent down to go pick up the bottle of like cooking oil. And I'm telling you right now, I know exactly what a concussion feels like, and I have it. Like immediately, my head starts spinning, my stomach's turning. I haven't been training because I don't have a car right now, right? So it's been tricky. And I'm like, well, you know, whenever I stop training, I'm like, at least I'm giving my brain a fucking break from getting fucking kicked, kneed, elbowed, shin to the fucking dome, punched. Oh, fuck, man. Ugh. All right. Well, thank you all for the support. Thank you for being here. And at least with this concussion, I'll be able to enjoy Hassan Piker's content. I still haven't heard your full take argument regarding Chicanismo link. The fuck? Thank you for a $5 super chat. I'm sorry, I said what the fuck because your profile pic's throwing me off. I was not expecting that from your profile picture. But thank you so much. What is it? Mac all is stream strong. I mean, it's just not what we're talking about right now, bro. But I appreciate it. No, I have not made like a Chicano like video breakdown or anything like that. Actually, does that shit still exist? Hold on, maybe. Give me one sec. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it here. Let me look for this while I let this play. All right. Let me see here, y'all. Well, you know what he did. He's a fucking criminal, bro. He's a war criminal. Oh, you know what? This reminds me of because of Ryan Grimm. Hold on. This fucking, just look at this shit, bro. I'm not talking about his looks. I'm talking about his cut. This is fucking wild.
Is that the language that we use? Like, we don't use that language, right? It's a national.
Let's see here. Where you at, you little coward? Where are you at, you little fucking snake in the grass? So he retweeted this by Dan Cotwell. Don't care for Platner, but it was fairly common during the height of the GWOT. What the fuck is GWOT? GWOT. Does anybody know what that is? Anybody here a little jarhead? Military meaning. Global war on terrorism. Ugh. Ugh. All right. The global war on terrorism. I never heard the global part. I always heard just the war on terrorism, but okay. For boot Marines to get stupid tattoos like this because they look cool. I know several Hispanic Marines who, oh my God, bro. This is not the defense you want. Oh, yes, we have Nazis. Yes, we have fucking Nazis. When I was younger, fresh out of high school, I didn't know this. And as a fucking joke, and I hope it comes out somebody can find this shit, I shaved my mustache and I had the chaplain. We're calling it the chaplain. Then I wrote Brown Power as the caption, right? Because of how stupid I thought it was, and also kind of making fun of the Brown Power tattoos. You know, at that time, Cain Velasquez, I think, was still champion. But anywho, I thought it was fucking funny until I found out, like, no, there's actual fucking, like, brown Nazis, right? But yes, would not be surprised whatsoever that your Hispanic friends had fucking Nazi tattoos. I couldn't find it. I'm pretty sure I did a stream with Subversive History and Decolonized Buffalo Rick back in the day with Plans for Non. I'm pretty sure I did that. Damn, my head's spinning. And put it this way. The glass container hit me, like the jar hit me so hard in the head that it took away all the impact and it didn't shatter when it hit the floor. All right. Where are we? Let's watch some of this. Actually, we're going to jump to like 9 minutes, I believe. 9 minutes, something like that. 9.
Past mistreatment of women. This is a serious accusation of the highest order, and it has all of the hallmarks of a verifiable accusation. Okay? Conversations in the past, far before Graham Platner came on the scene as a political operative, is a fairly reliable way to verify these accusations. I'm sorry, it's just the truth. Okay? Like, as you guys know, my policy on this is, believe women doesn't mean reflexively assume that all women.
Check out his Amber Heard coverage and then tell me if Hassan's honest about this.
Are incapable of telling a lie or anything. It just means, like, don't reflexively disbelieve women, right? And contemporaneous communications is huge, especially if they are before he was in politics. Exactly. Central Committee is correct on this. It's a huge part of this. Okay. I assume that they will explain as to why the New York Times didn't get into this, but here's the other side of the story. Okay. I believe this accusation. I believe this allegation. Let me just make that very clear.
Do you know why he has to make that very clear? Do you know why he has to make that super clear? Because throughout this video, he will come up with excuses after excuse and potential possibilities of how things may not be what they appear to be. That's why. Now, when I give examples of how Graham Platner supporters might use certain things as an excuse, a linchpin, or a place to argue that there's some questionability about the accusations, I do that so that you're aware of the bullshit they're going to spew if you come across these individuals. What Hassan Piker does is give these preposterous potential realities in order to leave some wiggle room and some space so that if somehow Graham Platner manages to trick people into believing that this accusation is not true, Hassan can flip and say, hey, remember I said that if something like this kind of happened, then I wouldn't believe it.
Especially because, once again, there are other friends with correspondence from before Graham Platner became a known entity, right? That's very important because you're not actively seeking to a person if that person is not a political operative at all, right? Like fisherman, okay? He's a random oyster fisherman at that point in fucking Maine. The timing of this, on the other hand,
and again, the bullshit AOC bartender narrative. He was just an oyster, just a random unknown oyster farmer with a famous rich architect grandfather, with a business owner mother, with a lawyer father that probably bought him the fucking farm, if we're being honest. Yes, he always wears a suit, and that's a horrendous fucking tie. Yeah, his DNC fucking handlers told him, hey, wear the suit so people think that you're more fucking professional. I mean, this guy will do anything for fame, clout, and attention and access for him to feel important. Bro, you're already a multimillionaire. How deep and hollow is the hole that you have that you're trying to fill? It's ridiculous.
is once again fucked up. The timing of the drop is in the column of rat fucking, but the accusations are certainly real.
So already acknowledging this whole rat fucking thing, it's weird. The only time I ever heard rat fucking was watching Succession. That's it. So I don't know if it was a thing before, if it was something like a Washington DC thing. I've only been there once, so I didn't know like the lingo, right? But again, even going out of your way to say, hey, the timing for this is kind of suspicious, is lending space for Grant Platner's argument that this is a hit, that this is just a smear, just like the other ones. The fact that Hassan Piker is sitting there and being like, well, no, these are credible allegations that I totally 100% believe, but the timing's a little weird, isn't it? It's a little rat fuckery, or however you use that fucking phrase. It's pretty fucking gross that he's always like leaving a little
I'm afraid
fucking.
of like talking to people who are outside of my range.
I don't like to be crude. I love this one. That's hilarious. But like a little dingleberry of doubt. It's fucking disgusting and repulsive to do this against a legitimate sexual allegation against his fucking hero, Grant Platner.
Okay? Do with that information what you will, but the accusations, they are as credible as it is going to get.
Do with what you will with that information. So he's like, hey, by the way, the timing's a little fucking odd, isn't it? No, I believe her, but the timing's a little strange, isn't it? It's a little odd. Makes one think. I'm just asking questions. It's just the timing's a little interesting. It's intriguing, to say the least, is it not? Makes you wonder, makes you think. I mean, might not mean anything. Do with that information what you will. But I totally believe her. I totally believe her. Jeez. Why do y'all think I don't? I know. Why do you think I avoid being gross and like it's just I can go there. I just rather not.
Okay? Do with that information what you will, but the accusations, they are as credible as it is going to get. Okay? Unless the correspondence between Rassicot and her friend is not from back then, or the other partner that Rassicot had, which I have no reason to believe that that's the case, for the record. Okay, it still ultimately lends itself to a verifiable and credible accusation. Both the therapist and the
who talks like that? Who continuously makes exceptions or grants plausible realities where he's like, well, unless and the timing might not be accurate, then then maybe possibly I can see how that way it wouldn't be so credible. But I no. But to be very clear, I think it's credible now. Who talks like that when you actually believe in something? And why are you so inclined on providing like this whole weird devil's advocate a little bit? Or maybe not a devil's advocate, but maybe like a deceitful doubter? How about that? Deceitful doubter. Why would you do that if you actually believe what this woman has said? It's just strange to me. What would make you say like, well, maybe the timings of those messages aren't what we believe them to be? What will make you say that? And I've heard another thing too. And he said this at the beginning of the stream. He said he was wondering, just wondering out loud, why it was that the New York Times did not include this. He was just saying like, oh yeah, I want to know why this wasn't included in the New York Times. Almost saying, well, Politico isn't as legitimate as the New York Times, so maybe there's some discrepancies to where the New York Times didn't feel comfortable publishing that. But Politico, not being as prestigious, went for it. And while reading the article, and y'all could, I mean, Graham Platner is in serious trouble at Sanabi Archives. Go check it out if you want. But as he's reading the article, he reads the part where she says, hey, I realized that in the New York Times article, people were targeting this woman because of her political, beliefs and just downplaying what I experienced. So I wanted to come out and fully flesh out the sexual assault. And then he goes, oh, I guess that's why it wasn't in the New York Times. But then again, like, why would you go out of your way to be like, strange that the New York Times didn't report this? As if the New York Times is like this pillar of righteousness, of truthfulness. All right, bro.
To a verifiable and credible accusation. Both the therapist and the friend refused to comment. This needs receipts. So let's continue. Is this rat fucking if they're giving him time to drop out, I guess? Well, we'll get into that in a second.
Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the regulars. Shout out to new people joining in. Because goddamn, man. I would ban the fuck out of y'all if you were doubting, like, straight up just doing shit like this. Like, I'm cool with disagreeing with me. Please, by all means, criticizing me for sure. But to be like poking around to be like, are you sure? Are like, what the rat fucking him? But what do you mean, Hassan? Make the world make sense to me. If y'all came in here with that fucking energy, I'm good. Because Hassan's a weirdo. Yeah, it's kind of like a little bit of cognitive dissonance for sure. For sure. But remember,
any other black folk want to engage in radical activist language in this fucking chat?
Remember, Hassan is not anti-black. No matter what people like me, liars like myself, tell you, Hassan is not anti-black. Don't believe his line words that I play. There's another part of this fool's. Okay, 2008. Here we go.
By politics. I still stand by what I said about Fifield, by the way.
Remember Fifield or Fifield, whatever, however you pronounce her last name, was the one that claimed that she was essentially like physically assaulted by Graham Platner, that he tossed her into a room, locked the door, that he grabbed her and tossed her in that room. And everyone was downplaying her statements because she was a Republican. And again, what was Graham Platner, a lifelong anti-fascist, doing dating a Republican? And he's going to do it now. He's going to continue even after legitimate rape accusations against Graham Platner with one of the women that was in the initial report of the New York Times. Even now, Hassan Piker is going to downplay the physical assault that one of the women's experienced for simply being Republican. You gotta love this shit, man. It's fucking repulsive.
Especially considering that she spent a good deal of time, not just like being a Republican operative, but specifically defending Brett Kavanaugh against those very real allegations. Brett Kavanaugh then also turned around and literally denied women bodily autonomy.
So because somebody's a reactionary, it means they can be sexually, or in this case, physically abused? It's good to know.
Like, you know, hundreds of millions of women on U.S. soil were impacted by Brett Kavanaugh's lies. So I will once again stand by my previous statements on that story. This is a different situation, I think. Like, here's the
Why, Hassan? Because Rosso Kit, I'm sorry, after the concussion, give me a break. Because Rosso Kit, that's not how you say your name. That's not how you say it. I'm trying to be respectful. What is it? Rassicot? Because Rassicot on U.S. soil, exactly. Oh, okay, you beat me to it. Hold on. I'm a little impaired. Let me catch up to you. Rassicot is politically aligned with Graham Platner's politics. She's politically aligned with Hassan Piker. Remember, in the article, she says, I was hesitant because I dislike him as a person and who he is, but I agree with his politics. So when somebody asked earlier, why is it that they believe and support this white woman? It's because she aligns with them politically. That's why. Remember what I said. You see this with Jennifer Welch a lot. You see this with the way that she hyper focuses on compradors, right?
I think all white people should aspire to be cookout approved white person.
These white people, these rad libs, always hyper focus on targets. I'm struggling, my apologies. The acceptable targets that they can get away with being racist, misogynist, you fucking name it. Again, it's not like I'm above this. I tell y'all that I struggle with this when it comes to white women. I try to be as honest as possible about that because I never want to present myself as something that I'm not. I am still working on a whole lot of fucking things, right? And I think I'm always going to struggle with that until there's a recognition of how culpable, responsible white women are to their white male counterparts in pursuit of white supremacy, right? So I'm always going to feel that, and I need to almost kind of overcompensate to the point of like bordering misogyny and calling out white women's complicity. I need to be more delicate with that, more strategic with it, and not lend myself to patriarchal, machista, misogynist tendencies and socialization and be comfortable in that, right? I need to challenge myself. These people, like Jennifer Welch, like Hassan Piker, find acceptable targets that they think they can get away with expressing their misogyny, their racism, or like Kyle KKK Kalinske against Caitlyn Jenner, express their transphobia and get a pass from their audience. I'm not looking for that shit because I want to be a better person, and I expect every single one of you to call me out if I'm on some bullshit. All right? So, I don't know why my back is hurting. Okay, now I'm getting worried because my back is hurting. Right? Only I would fucking do this. Why do we have such fragile skulls? All right. We're good. So just keep that in mind. That's the difference, and that's why. But somebody else mentioned, and I missed it. They were ahead of me a little bit. Who mentioned it? I said, you got ahead of me. Where are we at? Help me out, chat. I'm struggling here. I appreciate y'all. What about me, Michael? I'm smart too. That's how I'm feeling right now. The U.S. soil part. Isn't that strange to highlight Brett Kavanaugh's role in removing agency and autonomy from women, specifically in U.S. soil, right? That seems kind of obvious. He's a Supreme Court judge for the United. That seems kind of obvious. He's a Supreme Court judge for the United States. Why would you need to go out of your way to highlight that it's U.S. soil? Well, because he doesn't give a fuck about the countless women that Graham Platner massacred in Iraq and Afghanistan. That's why.
Here's the thing. There is, I mean, this is as airtight as it's going to get as far as allegations goes, right? As far as allegations goes, this is fairly airtight, okay? And it's not even because if you remember, I said this about Fifield as well. If you recall in my commentary on the Fifield allegations, I said if there was corroboration at the time from friends of Lindsay Fifield, it wouldn't matter whether or not she was a Republican operative, right? If you recall, that's what I said.
Well, because she is a Republican, certainly a factor is huge. Chad, I appreciate your kindness. I sincerely do. But I am way too old to be told when to go to, no, I'm kidding. Go full anarchist. I legit have a concussion, fuckers. I cannot go to sleep even if I want to. Now, do I need to turn fucking lights off and like rest my head? Yeah. For sure. But we're good. I've had these before, and I've driven with concussions before after sparring and getting my ass beat. My professional fucking fighters. We'll be okay. We'll be fine. I appreciate y'all. Sincerely, though. That's very heartwarming. I'll try to remember this once I lose short-term memory. All right, let's keep going.
This seems to me like there is corroboration. Now, the only thing that would be potentially the only thing that would be in defense of Graham Platner here, which is
in defense of Graham Platner. This motherfucker cannot help himself. Hassan Piker cannot help himself in his misogyny. Rape accusations just dropped on Graham Platner. And Hassan Piker says, in defense of him, now he's sincerely playing devil's advocate. You love to see it. Roots and Bark, thank you so much. I appreciate you for the gifted.
the only thing that would be potentially the only thing that would be in defense of Graham Platner here, which is it seems the allegations that seem super credible and indefensible, would be if there was like financial, if there was any sort of financial entanglement between a friend, but it doesn't seem to be the case.
Chat, I'm sorry. I just got a concussion. I got a jar dropped in the back of my head. Why would anyone bring up
I voted for Kamala Harris. You got problems?
unsubstantiated, completely fucking random claim that there's a financial entanglement going on here, potentially, even when he further obscures things by saying, I don't think that's the case here. What is the purpose of bringing that up at all? At all. Please, somebody explain it to me. What is the goal of Hassan Piker to just pontificate, to wonder out loud what possible possibilities could potentially occur that may save Grant Platner's ass? And to bring up financial entanglement. Thank you so much, Cloud. The hater in him single-handedly pumping that adrenaline. What are we talking about?
Here, which is it seems the allegations that seem super credible and indefensible would be if there was like financial, if there was any sort of financial entanglement between a friend, but it doesn't seem to be the case. I mean, it's very, very unlikely. You know what I mean? Just so you guys understand. And the reason why I'm taking this position is to show you that there is a lot of veracity to these claims.
Right. I'm only raising these potential possibilities to demonstrate that, you know, I'm on the side of women. I'm only bringing this shit up and kind of just giving you a little sense of doubt, poisoning the well here, just so that, you know, you understand that I'm a feminist. Yeah. No. I would have never done this. I would have just called the cops on her. Hassan Piker, yeah.
Like even in the most heavily scrutinized version of events, in order for this allegation to be untrue, would only happen if,
bro, am I having deja vu? Am I concussed this fucking bad? Why is he still going on about this? Why is he still like trying to spread doubt about this or come up with possible fucking realities where this isn't true? Am I tripping out? Like, has he not gone on about like how this potentially could not be true? And then immediately denouncing, oh, I don't think that's the case though. Like for about like a minute or two longer than he ever should have. I mean, this should never have happened to begin with. Like, why are you doing this? Look at his face too. It looks a little conniving, right? It looks a little conniving over here. Can I get some Turkish stereotypes, please, chat? I don't know anything about these fucking people. What can we work with here? Because this is like, what are we doing, bro? It just feels like it's continuing on. I legit forgot that he went on this long about like how this could possibly not be true, but totally is. But totally is. He brings it back up later too. Of course, bro. Of course. And I believe Paul when he says that, because if there's one thing I know about white people is they love watching Hassan Piker, even if they don't support him.
This experience is real, and she felt uncomfortable by this experience, understandably, because this is, you know, clear-cut date rape under the influence of alcohol, right? But she previously did not. She felt conflicted about it, maybe confided in her friends, maybe confided in her therapist, worked through it. And then after the fact, and breaking and entering as well, which is, you know, not the main point here. Obviously, the violation of consent of someone's, you know, bodily autonomy in the process of a date rape is probably, you know, it's a breaking and entering is also another violation of consent, but nowhere near as significant as you know, rape. For this to be untrue, she would have had to been slandering him in 2023 because no. This is much worse than the allegation that Fifield made. That's why I'm saying it's credible 100%, right?
Meg Stalin. Mike from PA defended Grant Platner this morning right before the end of his stream. After the allegations dropped, what time did this article drop? We're gonna start wrapping up pretty soon, chat. My head is fucking throbbing right now. Yeah. This dropped at, well, it dropped at 3 p.m. EDT. I mean, if it's before, they've always been defending this fucking war criminal. Should we just? I mean, read the article.
No. What I'm saying is like, I don't think it's disputed that Graham Platner actually violated this person's consent. There's no dispute there at all.
What's up with this fucking editor, bro?
Okay, none, because it's I mean it's ridiculous, right? It would be totally fucking ridiculous, bro. It's just rape, not date rape. I mean, date rape is rape, chatters. There's no distinction.
Thank God that most of you are smarter than me. And by most, I mean like every single one of y'all, because why would it be so difficult to be like, oh yeah, I should have just said rape instead of date rape. I'm sorry, I'm honestly from Southern California, so I grew up with Sublime's date rape. It's not, and it's so annoying to like tap into this, but like, just say you were wrong. They weren't on a fucking date. He didn't break into her house because supposedly, you know, the doors was open, or it was unlocked, I should say. But he still went into her house without permission, without her consent, and raped her. But remember, this is a frat boy. Somebody said Freudian slip.
I mean, it's just rape. It's violent sexual assault. So here's the thing. What I was trying to say is this definitely happened, right? For this to be something that she's like reconsidering, regardless of whether or not it happened, because that is not in dispute at all. But for her to like reconsider and then come out right now, the only thing that would tarnish the credibility of this the victim here would be if there was like any additional coaching or something.
Nah, chat, he's doing this shit on purpose. This is what, his third or fourth potential excuse? I lost count. Is it third, fourth, or fifth potential excuse? Why is he still on this? Because he's a fucking weirdo, bro. He's a sex tourist. Of course he's on this shit. He tried to get the police to intimidate his ex-girlfriend. Of course he's on this shit. Why is he doing this? Bro, you tell people that Hassan is anti-black and nobody fucking believes you because AFD co-signs him. You tell people that Hassan's a fucking misogynist, nobody fucking believes you because he has a very large and prominent female audience. It's just shit like this. Over and over again. He's still going on about this shit. And the coaching line is exactly from the end of this, towards the end of this article, where Platner's team says that they've been coached by out-of-state actors. Let's see if I can find it. Hold on. Here it is. They are also coached and coordinated by out-of-state establishment operatives. And what is Hassan Piker saying right now? That the only way this can possibly be a little sketchy, maybe not believable, is if they were being coached.
Victim here would be if there was like any additional coaching or something, or if like outside groups and we're like,
they are also coached and coordinated by out-of-state establishment operatives. outside groups. Bro.
Hey, this is a serious allegation. You should definitely come out and speak on it. And even then that happens at times because it takes a lot of courage for victims to come out in instances where they're accusing someone of sexual assault, especially when the person that they're accusing of sexual assault is now running for Senate and is a fairly popular candidate, right? So
you see how he plays that game, and mind you, I don't think we saw any edit until very at the end, until he finishes making his point, but how he keeps playing that game. He'll bring up like 3 or 4 like poisoning of the wells or potential excuses to cover for Grand Planner, just start putting some doubt out there. For no fucking reason, nobody asked for these alternative fucking facts over here, alternative realities. Then he'll be like, oh no, but it's but don't worry, I believe him. Oh, but don't worry, that's not the case. So why bring it up at all? Because when I bring shit up and be like, hey, keep in mind, they might use this. And so that you don't fall for it. And I'm relating it to the article that we're reading. Hassan Piker's just coming up with fucking ideas, supposedly, maybe not from the fucking Grand Planner campaign, but just coming up with ideas of how to muddy the waters. How to put this shit in his audience impressionable minds. His chat is doubting the story. If it conditioned them to accept supporting him, giving him money as he normalizes a fucking neo-Nazi American war criminal, that's unsurprising to me. Like, he has to be doing this as I'm just curious troll tactic to provide means of discrediting the survivors. He's a frat boy. He already knows these lines. True. I do gotta wrap up because my head is killing me now. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I might throw up because my stomach is turning so bad right now. My apologies for sharing that with y'all. Thank you so much for joining me on a Monday. Fuck Grand Planner. Said it since day one. I'll continue saying it. Fuck anyone that has been supporting him, from Hassan Piker, Emma Villain, Sam Cedar, Kyle K, Kikalinski, Crystal Ball, the Zionist Guard with Zach and Gavin. You fucking name it, the leftist mafia. You name it. Don't let them fucking scurry like the fucking rats that they are from the responsibility of normalizing a fucking white supremacist neo-Nazi, a war criminal on the left. If it wasn't for this white woman coming out and sharing her story, they would have co-signed this fucking murderer of brown Muslims. Remember what Glenn Ford said? Organized with eyes wide open. Let's get to this. I'm a little lost. I'm a little all over the place. I'm not gonna lie. Thank you for all the super chats and all the support. The gifted. And I saw a couple things down there. I'm sorry if I miss anything. If you want to help support the channel, check out the Patreon. $2 gets you access to a Discord. If you want to skip all the nonsense, hit up the Cash App. I'm getting there. I'm wrapping up. I'm literally only wrapping up, not because I need to sleep, but because my head is fucking aching and I can't go to sleep now, so I need to lay down at least. All for some fucking watermelon, bro. Worth it. John Trudell. The Beast. I can never skip the poem. What are we talking about? Come on. In a wisp of smoke, down in the corner, there was this cat named Fortunately, talking at me from voices in his head, yelling about what Storyteller said. You gotta be careful here, child. There's a beast in the promised land. There's madness you don't understand. The beast is crazed and running wild. Little boy, man, little girl, woman, no big deal, nothing personal. Your mind's another meal. Savoring the rush of you like heady wine, feeding is what the beast is meant to do. Stranger are those walls built to hide. Stranger to look and learn not to see. He's in the mask you put on your face. Thoughts, his favorite breeding place. In the race to midnight, it's after 11. The nature of the beast is all he knows. Behind doors of hell, are gates of heaven. Doors are open, but the gates are closed. Ya estuvo.